What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, I want to talk about SPS staking and why, for the first time in a very long time, we are seeing it more economically viable, meaning that the returns are better to stake SPS than to utilize one of the other vehicles, namely the liquidity pools, right? There's still other things like the node licenses, for example, that are giving out better rewards. But if you like having, exposure directly to SPS, then staking versus the LPs has always been a big thing for me, right? It's always been a big decision on what to choose one way or another. Now, before we go any further on this is not financial advice. This is just simply me talking about the game economy. You have to make your own decisions on how you spend your hard-earned capital. But when it comes to SPS and where you can get certain returns and the ROI, which I know many people in this space are interested in, I think it's actually fascinating to see that the returns from staking SPS and then also, in addition to that, renting out your SPS actually make it more worthwhile than the LP. So what am I talking about here? If you go and rent out your SPS, you can see here that there is an 11.33% APR increase if you rent it out, right? So let's actually, well, you know what, since we're on this page already, we'll just start here. So obviously 0.005 DEC, you don't see that very often, although the rental prices are starting to increase, which is good. That increases the additional APR. I would say it's probably safe to bet that you can get about the 0.004. You can see there's several 100,000, 100,000 SPS bids, 40,000, 40,000. So you're always going to be able to find something, at least at this moment in time, for this 0.004 DEC. Which at the current prices of SPS, which is about 1.27, 1.2, we'll just say between 1.25 and 1.3 cents for SPS, right? Somewhere within that range, we've been ranging back and forth. It gets you an additional 9%. Now, what is that in addition to? Well, let's actually go back over here to SPS, and you can see here that to stake your SPS, you get a 13.88% APR. Now that is in SPS, rewards as well as in vouchers. So that to me actually is quite appealing because now that gets you close to the 24% range. And due to the fact that we have actually reduced a lot of the LP incentives lately, right? We've removed some and then we've reduced others. You can actually see that staking SPS is much more economically competitive, or, I guess we'll put it ROI competitive with the other pools. So for example, SPS and BNB is probably the highest one that I see here at 24.12%. Right? That's comparable to the 24% that you get right now for buying SPS, staking it, and then renting it out. SPS ETH, which is the other big one here, is only 15.68%, right? Vouchers and SPS, if you stay on Hive, that's 14%. SPS swap.hive, that's 21.69%. Now, there's an ulterior motive here, right? Not personally for me, but just in general for the game. I think one of the better reasons for... there's a couple of things that I think provide some benefit. Now, I want deep liquidity in the game. That is something that we definitely need. So I don't want you to think that I'm anti that. But there are benefits to liquidity being somewhat light because people just want to stake their SPS. And since there's only, 1.2 billion or so, it is, even though it's a lot, there is a finite amount of SPS out in the ecosystem. People need to pick and choose where they want to put it. So by throwing it into SPS staking, some of the benefits overall for the community, for the ecosystem, is the fact that there is that 4-week unstaking period, which to me is fantastic because then people don't make these rash decisions, right? So let's say SPS spikes up one day, then you have people trading it back and forth. And again, I'm not against trading. I'm not against trading volume, but people with longer time, or we'll put it, longer time frames or shorter time preferences, they will feel much more comfortable. They won't be going back and forth with it on that side. The other part of it too is that when it comes to restaking or compounding your gains with staking SPS, you don't have to sell any SPS. And that's one of the beautiful things about it, right? Well, I don't know if beautiful is the best way to describe it. It's standard, right? One of the things that I've always had an issue with the LPs is that, let's say you are super bullish on the game. Unfortunately, because of the design and the reward token being SPS, you will always have to sell either half or all of your SPS. Now, what do I mean by that? Okay, so let's say you have something in like the voucher SPS pool. Well, you're paid out in SPS. And let's say you're so bullish in the game, you just want to recompound that. Well, guess what? If you want to put, whatever your earnings are back into voucher and SPS, you need to sell half of your SPS for vouchers. And then we got rid of the DEC pools, DEC stablecoin pools, but there's still the DEC swap.hive. So let's say you're earning this nice 11.5% on the DEC swap.hive. You get paid out on SPS, and if you want to compound your gains, if you want to, reinvest, meaning you're bullish actually in what's going on, you have to sell 100% of your SPS to do that. You don't need to do that with the staking or with the staking option. You just take whatever it is. Now, one thing that's kind of the same for both, even though with staking, actually with both, you end up receiving both of them unstaked, right? Liquid, although I really wish that would change. I wish all SPS rewards would come in staked. I think that would just be easier overall. But like I said, there's still going to be pros and cons overall. So when considering this, I just want to point that out now, because traditionally, I think people have always been in the liquidity pools believing that, there was a better kind of option there for them. And traditionally they would have been right. Ever since the launch of the liquidity pool rewards, the APRs have always been higher, always juicier. And I think people have gone there. But with SPS, right, you have less or maybe no impermanent loss, risk. Although you do just have loss risk because SPS is only goes in one direction and it's not up, right? But again, if you believe long term, or if you buy into the other utility for SPS in terms of earning you more rewards in game, again, there's a lot of different ways that you can go about it. Now, the final thing that I'll say about this, going back to the beginning, it's not that I want less liquidity, but the final kind of benefit of having less liquidity overall is that it does make for a little bit more price volatility. Now, that does go both ways, right? It's a double-edged sword. So it can go down, but it can also go up, meaning that if there's just not much SPS liquidity out there, and we get to a point where people actually want SPS, well, all of a sudden that price starts to go up real fast because there's just not much SPS in the pools. So as you can see, there's several different benefits and that I'm trying to lay out here for the ecosystem overall. But like I said, even internally, personally, right? And again, this is not financial advice. This is just game preferences that I'm throwing out there. If you are playing the game, you're enjoying the game, and you're trying to decide where you can get, better options, by staking SPS, you get more rewards in game, both SPS as well as Glint. You get vouchers, which have value for, whatever cool stuff that the team wants to come up with down the line. And, and again, it's just, you don't have that impermanent loss risk. So for me, I don't have too much out there. And, I have suffered actually a decent amount of impermanent loss just due to the fact that SPS has gone down so dramatically. But from here moving forward, I don't think that and this is just me personally, would put anything into the LPs right now. I'm probably just going to stake and restake everything at this point because it's actually competitive. In fact, it's even better than competitive, right? It beats out most of the APRs for the LPs. So I'm curious to get your thoughts on this. I know, people might just be focused on the game, and that's totally fine, or the game side of this, and that's totally fine. But for others that have been kind of contemplating the different options here, has this changed your behavior? Are you into any of the other things? Maybe you took your stuff and bought, node licenses because the APR on that is still like above 30 something percent. Or are you happier with the kind of liquidity of the LPs, or easy access is what I should say, rather than, having it be staked and take 4 weeks to get all of your capital back? Very curious to hear your thoughts, but I just wanted to point this out because it's with all the recent changes that we've had to the LP rewards, this is something that is now, much more viable. And I don't know if people have been paying attention because it's not easily laid out somewhere, right? You go into the SPS staking and it shows you only 13-14%. But if you rent your SPS out, then all of a sudden, you're getting other things. And I know before somebody comes back, if you rent your SPS out, you're not getting the in-game benefits like SPS rewards or increased Glint. I get it. All I'm saying is that you have the option, right? You can get one or the other, and you're still going to get that 13-14% with vouchers and all that. So it just gives you options. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. That is all I have for you guys in this video. Otherwise, I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.